Hello everyone and welcome. This is Christine with Patter Crafts, and today I'm making a card using a few images from the Bubble Babies digital stamp set from 7 Kids Crafts. I'll leave a link in the description box below in case you're interested. I'm having some fun using digital images lately. I like that I can control the size of the image, and I like that I can create a scene without having to do all the masking. And while I do love to see the reveal after you do all the masking, I'm not a big fan of cutting all the little bits you need to as far as the fussy cutting goes. So I've been having a lot of fun creating little scenes using the digital stamps. So for instance, this scene here, I put the little mermaid sitting on the rock with the waves and then added the sentiment to the left. I did just do that on my computer and then printed that out on some 100-pound cardstock with my printer. I was fortunate enough to realize eventually that my printer does not bleed when I use alcohol markers, but I have not used any kind of like watercolors or my Arteza real brush pens, so I'm not sure if it'll bleed with that, but it works perfectly fine with Copics, which tends to be what I color with 95% of the time. So I used a variety of markers to color in her skin, and I'm using I think 3 different BG markers here to color in her tail. Now when I was coloring in her face, I colored in the red for her lips, and then I was like, oh no, did I just color her nose? But I don't think this particular image has a nose on the mermaid, and it seems really silly to sit there and debate this with myself, but I just ended up drawing one in with a marker. I don't think that's necessarily I don't think there was really a nose on the image, but maybe there was. It seems really stupid to keep having that conversation with myself. Anyway, moving on. So I finished up her tail. I used some really light BG markers, and now I'm going on to this little flower. I'm using a variety of different oranges, and I'm using a yellow because I wanted those little tips on the end to be yellow and have it kind of fade into a lighter orange and then to a darker orange in the center. I'm just using 2 of my green markers to color in the leaves on this flower headpiece. And then we're going to bring in some purple for the details to the right of that flower. I'm not 100% sure what these are. And I'm just going with it. I sometimes with images, I see one thing, but then when I see other people's cards with the same images, I'm like, oh, so that's what that is. But I just go with it. It's all creative. You can do what you want to do, color in things that you want to color them in. And speaking of coloring in what they want to be, I thought it'd be really fun to give her some bright pink hair. So I am outlining right now the areas that I want to be the darkest with the brightest pink that I am going to be using, and then I'm coming in and going right around those images with my medium color pink, and then I'm going to fill in the rest of that white space with the lightest of the pink markers. And I did try to remember to put all the caps up on the screen in case you were interested to know what colors exactly I used. And then we're going to go on to the rock. For things like rocks and nature type things, I do like to use cool grays. So I'm using my C7 here where all of the lines are pretty much on the rock, and where she's sitting, anything that might be a deeper shadow. Then I jumped to C3, but then I realized this, I didn't like the look of this. I didn't feel like there was enough between the C7 and the C3, so then I went ahead and grabbed my C5 and the C3 again, and then I was really happy with the way the rock looked. I didn't want it to be too dark, but I thought that C3 was just a little too light. So now I'm just using a couple of different blues for the water. Even though she's got some bubbles above her, I did not want to Copic color an entire background. So I am Copic coloring that bottom part there, but then I'm bringing in some distressed oxides to fill in blue for the rest of the scene. So I am using Tumbled Glass and Stormy Sky. You'll see that I use a lot of these two for a combination. For blues, it's what I have on hand, and Tumbled Glass is definitely one of my favorite. I have it for Distress Oxides, but it is all pretty much dried up. So since I have this one for the Distress Oxide that I received in a card kit at one point, I have been using that. Now, my mat did not get cleaned from the last time that I used it, so a happy accident was some of the green from the last time I used my mat here blended onto my paper with that Tumbled Glass, but I really liked what the effect was that it brought to the project. So I'm going to call that a happy accident. Lastly, I'm just using the Stormy Sky right around the edges to kind of darken up the edge, but I'm not bringing it too close into my image. So once she's all set, we need to get a card base, and I've decided to use some black cardstock for my card base. I thought it would just make my whole panel pop if I used black, because I'm going to cut the panels about a quarter roughly of an inch. I just wanted to have a little bit of a black border, and I think it's about a quarter, but I didn't really measure. I just kind of used a pencil and a tick mark to make those, to cut those edges so that I had a mat. Now we get to add all of the sparkle. So I'm using some of these Nuvo glitter drops. These are blue in color, but I'll leave the exact color in the description box below because I don't necessarily always remember the names of all of the Nuvo drops I use. I should make a list because when I do my voiceover, I'm not in my craft room, so I don't have those items right next to me to be able to tell you what the colors are. But I did use the blue glitter dots for all the little bubble pieces and the little splashes on that sentiment that says splash, hugs and splashes. Next, I'm bringing in Stickles to add to the little purple there to the left of that flower. And I'm adding Stickles onto her tail. I like the Stickles because they don't really add any dimension, but they add a lot of glittery sparkle shine. Once I am done with all the Stickles that I want to use, those are the diamond Stickles, I do know that color, I am bringing in some clear Nuvo glitter drops. I believe the color of these are Moonstone, but again, I'll leave that in the description below with everything that I used today. And I'm using that where the waves are. I like using the Nuvo glitter drops for this because it will add that little bit of dimension that you won't get with Stickles. Then I decided to carry that through to the top part, and I'm going to make more bubbles using the Nuvo glitter drops in that clear all around both sides of her. And that is it for my card today. Thank you so very much for joining me today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more and you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know when I upload next, definitely hit that notification bell. But until next time, have a great day. Bye.